the two of us rather than on here. But thank you for that. So yes, so this is a new earth that is being talked about. You know, it's a massive global shift. You know, we need to realize the enormity of what we are experiencing within our lifetime, you know, but we also need to realize as well that there is no chance, it's not coincidence that we chose to be incarnated at this time neither. You know, every single one of us has kind of work to do, you know, but first the work needs to be on ourselves. So this is why we will be feeling challenged. This is why we will be feeling kind of tested during these times, because they are testing times. And as I've said before, we only ever get tests on what we know. You know, we don't go into a driving school and they go, right, get in that car and see if you can drive, before we have learned how to drive, and then we have the test. So if you're feeling tested or challenged, it's because you know something that you aren't actually implementing within your daily life and into who you are. So this Taurus moon is coming up at this moment in time, because it's looking at where we look for our foundations, where we look for solidity, and where we look for stability. Taurus can often be slow, okay? But look at the hare and the tortoise. It's not a race. Life is not a race. You know, there is the human race, but life is not a race, okay? We're meant to take in, when we go into uncharted territory, we go into the scenic route. So many of us want to actually go from here, A to B, bang, that's it, you know? But we've got to go all around the houses, because this is when we learn and this is when we evolve. And every single one of us is on here. You know, the path was forged by our ancestors for us to walk on, and we are now carving that new path for the ones that will come after us. So this isn't about just us, and it isn't just about personal readings. This is so much bigger than this, you know, and this is what we need to actually realize. So what they were saying to me here, which is quite interesting, they were talking about our old stories, okay? The way life used to be. Have we ever sat with our grandparents and, you know, they tell us the stories of the past? But what we need to realize is that every single one of us has stories that we have developed from our past, of how things were, of how they should be, you know, and we live in those stories. Them stories actually end up holding us back. They hold us back within our career. They hold us back within our relationships, and they hold us back within our evolution as well. So I've been doing some work with a coach recently, which is really, really interesting. We're going into relationships. We're going into my relationships with money, with people, you know, with things like that. And I'm realizing how old stories that I was either taught or that I witnessed or that I learned have been the cause of my discomfort. So it's about letting these stories go. We all have them. Think about it now. If I said to you, like, give me a 2-minute dialogue of your story, how would you start it? How would you start it? 9 times out of 10, it's usually something bad that has happened to you. It's like when you say to people, how are you today? Oh, well, I've been better. You know, I could be worse. Nobody goes, I'm amazing. You know, I'm absolutely great. I'm here and I'm evolving and, you know, all of this. And then look at ways that your story, because we all have one, every single one of us, look at how that story has actually held you back in the past, okay? And look at how if you carry on that story, it will hold you back in your future, okay? So think what it will cost you and what it has already cost you by living in this story. It's like, oh yeah, I'm not good enough, or you know, oh yeah, everybody I date, you know, leaves me, or, you know, oh, I always get fired from my job. I never get picked. I never get chosen. You know, all of these, you know, I was abused. I was all of this. You know, we can stop that story at any time. But if we believe it, then it becomes our reality. So if we think we are worthless, if we think we don't have a mission and we're not important on this planet, then that is how we will play it out, and we will miss our chance. Can you imagine, my coach said this the other day, imagine, like it's your time and you go up and you meet St. Peter or whatever, and, they're like, right, okay, him and God sitting, and they're like, what did you do with your life? It's like, oh, well, I had the opportunity to do this, but I kind of didn't, because I wanted to play small and I was worried what other people would think. And, and I wanted to be liked. And tell them all of the things that you didn't do, and how your life could have been. And then they're going to turn around and go, what? We give you a body. We give you a chance. We give you every single opportunity, to be resourceful with what we had. You had every single resource. And that's what you've done with it. You had an okay life. It's, oh, no, but I wanted a good life. So why did you want a good life? You had the chance to have a fucking extraordinary life. Right, okay, get in there, go on, spend your time in heaven. They're like, no, but I know it now. Can I go back and can I have another chance? No, you blew it. And is that what you want your story to be? Is that really, look at why our stories hold us back. I know people that have had horrific abuse, horrific, like that you couldn't even speak about. Yet you see them and they have turned that into power. They have got out of their pain and they have turned that into power. And they have said, if I endured that, then nothing that is in front of me can scare me. They've used that. They haven't give that power away to that pain or to that abuser, or to that old story. They've actually said, I'm taking this back and I'm taking back my life, and this is what this Taurus is about. God, it's stupid. I'm sorry if I'm coming across as really harsh with this, but this is how they are. They're kind of, they're being stern at this moment in time, okay? They really are, but this is because we need it. So this is a chance, this Taurus moon is for us to look at our old stories, all of them. It's like, yeah, but I've made my bed, I've got to lie in it. No, you don't. If you want to lie on the sofa, lie on the sofa. If you want to put a tent outside, go lie in the tent. Just because you've got that doesn't mean that's what you've got to stick with. And this is jobs, this is relationships, this is bodies, this is ideas. We're being asked to open our mind, okay? To get outside of the fucking box. Now, look at us, we're all trapped inside. People are saying we're trapped. But what about if we say I'm safe inside? It changes the story straight away. It changes the vibration and it changes the frequency. So why the hell, if we are getting uncomfortable and wanting to go outside and we're kicking off because we have been enclosed, why the hell do we still keep our thinking in the box? Why do we want to think in there? Why do we want to be in that box when that box has nothing but restrictions and it restricts our growth? You look at plants, if you put them in a tiny pot, they will not grow. You plant them somewhere, and that's very interesting that they're saying that because of this Taurus moon. You plant them in fertile soil with enough room for them to grow, and that what would have turned into a tiny little plant can turn into a bush. It will thrive, not just survive. So this is about us actually making sure that the seeds that we plant at this moment in time and in the next couple of weeks for our future, not for our past. We're not planting seeds for our past. The past has been and gone. And if the past is in this little box, it's like a little window box, that we look at and go, oh yeah, isn't that pretty? Or do we want to build a forest? Do we want to build a place that can sustain not just us, but the rest of the world as well? Because this is what it's about. Like I say, this isn't about playing small. So we need to find this fertile soil. We need to give this nourishment, and then we need to plant these seeds in the right place. So this is when we're looking at old stories, okay? And what they said to me, which is quite interesting about this Taurus moon, is they told me the story of the three little pigs. Okay, I've got three pigs, but they haven't been since the lockdown, which is bizarre. So, right, okay, I've got to compose myself. They're literally, this is how they've been, like literally for the last 48 hours with me, you know. I'm exhausted before I even start. So this Taurus moon is asking us what we really value. Where do we get our feeling of safety and security from? Okay, if it is from the size of our house, the size of our car, you know, how much our fucking watch cost, you know, how we are seen, or what job we do, our status, then I'm sorry, but you know, you will experience big storms with that. Okay, you will, because that is, this material safety is not where we should be looking. That is not what is of value. What is of value is lives of people. Okay, connection. We're all realizing this because of this, you know, nature, you know, the air that we breathe, you know, the freedom of speech. This is all the things that we feel, that wind on our face, you know, that sun on our face. They are all of value. And when it comes to Judgment Day, which, to be honest, you know, it's there. It's when you have realized what the true value is in this world, that is the ones that will pass through, you know. This is it. So if you're still thinking it's about your watch or your car or your big house or your CEO job or whatever, do you know what I mean? Then I'm sorry, you have a lot to learn. And intelligence, you know, is not, it's like you might have intelligence, you might have knowledge. Look at all of these big companies, you know, that are desperate and wanting bailouts, you know, but the people that have always struggled, they're going to be more resourceful. You know, people are realizing now, you know, what resourceful means. It's doing what you can with what you can. Okay? So they told me here the story of the three little pigs. And look at it. Is your house built out of straw? Is it built out of wood, or is it built out of bricks? And when I'm talking about house, I'm not meaning the place that you live in. I'm meaning you, yourself. You know, are you strong? Because there's an old proverb that says, when your roots run deep, there is no reason to fear the wind. Okay, and that ties in perfectly with the three little pigs. When that big bad wolf comes along and he blows on you, is your house going to fall down? You know, or is it strong enough to keep you supported? And our house, they say home is where your heart is. And this is if you're following your heart and nourishing your heart and putting the nutrients into your heart every single day and giving them out to other people, that is when your house will be made of bricks. That's when your roots will run deep, and you might actually sway. I mean, we're having a storm here at this moment, and as I'm looking, I'm seeing the trees swaying. But if your roots are tight and they're there, and this is rooted within your truth and your authenticity, then that wind may come, and all you do is you just dance to it. You know, you sway and you dance. And this is what it's about, okay? Look at the power of music at this moment in time, you know? The power of dancing. This is what we've got to do. This is what they're wanting us to do. Despite what is going on external, feel that joy inside of us and do anything that brings us that joy. And it's simple things, you know, music, movement, you know, laughing, loving, you know, they are the things that are of value. And the other things and the tools that are going to get us through this. Okay? So I'm sorry. Please can I go back to bed? Because this isn't me shouting. This is the way they're coming through me. You know? So this is it. Forget the old stories. You know? They weren't your truth. Be in your truth. Be in your truth. Be authentic. You know, take that leap of faith and go, you know what? I'm not bothered if I lose everything that I've got, because I've still got me, and I've still got my honor and my integrity and my dignity, you know? And that is all we need, because when we take that leap, Spirit will be there to catch us, you know? But not if we're going, oh, well, hold on a second. You know, it's like, I really like that painting, you know, that cost $4,000 or something like that. $4,000 schmollers. You know, it's not about that. If you have that painting because you love it, then amazing. But if you have it because you see it as a status symbol, then it means nothing. It is worthless. Okay, so this is what this Taurus moon is asking us to do here. You know, we need to look at things. We need to open our mind and open our eyes to see that things might not be how we have seen them to be or how we believe them to be. Okay, so we need to think. We need to not have this tunnel vision. We need to have vision like an owl. You know, I remember I was doing a ceremony with a shaman one day, and there was no plant medicine or anything involved. And as we were doing it, I started to think, what's that? My head started to turn, not literally like kind of within the meditation. I started to feel wings and everything. And then my head went right round. And I was going to my friend, I'm a fucking owl. I'm a fucking owl. She was like, shut up, in ceremony, you know. But it was, I embodied this owl. And they said to me, you can now see 360. You see the bigger picture, not just through the vision of like the tunnel, what most of us do as well, you know. So this is it. We've got to think outside the box. We've got to think where we want to plant our roots for our future. And we've got to really see where value is as well. Okay. Another thing that has been coming through, and I really need to mention this. They're saying here, it's time to show up. It's no more hiding, you know. Show up, claim your future, see how you want it to be. It's not how, you know, you might have signed a contract, you know what I mean, whenever and said, right, okay, this is how it's going to be. I done a reading for a beautiful girl yesterday, you know, and all of these plans, and these plans were actually stopping her from getting the plans that she wanted, you know, and it was like, don't, you know, just be open to what comes. Surrender. Okay, surrender, because that path you're pushing against or pushing to get on might be robbing you of a better future and a more open. And it's when we all start to open and we all start to wake up, this is when the change will happen. This is when we will outpower and outnumber the ones that we need to. You know, it's not fighting against them. It's about fighting against the restrictions within ourselves that are actually causing us not to shine as bright as we are. And they talk about light workers. This is it. It's not about knowledge. Knowledge without action is nothing. Okay? It doesn't mean shit. So this is about